listening to the RMPodcast, the official podcast of Red Moon Productions. Here are your hosts, Brandon Davidson, Keith Cheatham, and Sean Sebastian. Enjoy.
And grow fat. Happy Fat Tuesday, everybody! I'm one of your hosts, Brandon Davidson, alongside our normal new host. Uh-oh. His mic. Check the end of it. See if the mic's on. I think the mic be unplugged. Oh, and check Keith. There's Keith Cheatham.
Blah, 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 blah.
There he is. Uh-oh.
Turned me up too loud there.
This is what happens when you mess with the audio board the night before.
Can you hear me? Am I there?
Yeah, you sound great
there
now.
we go.
Were you just unable to hear us for a little bit?
That was bad. No, I couldn't hear anything. My mic wasn't plugged in.
It wasn't. For some reason, I think it just got
He
messed.
sabotaged it.
He did. He said, watch this. I'm going to be a jerk.
I did try
You know what?
again last
you
night
mentioned
to,
it being
to help.
Fat Tuesday, but you neglected to mention one of the most important things going on
What?
right now, the State of the Union address.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Everybody
God.
came to this show to not watch and be saturated in politics.
I will say there is.
So join
there's
us
an-
for some entertainment.
We have
There's an
4
event-
viewers right now. That's 2 more than the State of the Union.
Yes.
Yeah, and right there.
I will say there is an event going on today that I will make a shout out for that doesn't involve you all in any way.
Well.
But it's my niece's birthday. My niece Kinley is 5
You have
today.
a
Well,
So-
happy birthday,
so-
Kinley.
You know,
Cool.
she turned 5. She's not watching. It's too late, and she doesn't
She
care.
shouldn't be watching.
She shouldn't
This is
be.
definitely not PG.
She
Nope.
wouldn't. She wouldn't care.
No, her parents wouldn't care. But we do. So we're thankful she's not watching. We got another beer to try out for Fat Tuesday. Are we giving it up for Lent?
I mean, no.
No.
But we were going to try it out regardless of Fat Tuesday.
we
True.
were.
I feel like Brandon's trying to link things to Fat Tuesday when we were
Look,
just going to do it anyway.
I
Yeah.
will say, like, I actually
I'm
remember.
fat every day. It doesn't have to be Tuesday.
I did. I remembered this year. It was actually Sunday because obviously Ash Wednesday is
Yeah.
this tomorrow.
That's Wednesday.
Yeah. So the beginning of
I
Lent.
thought it was Thursday.
Oh, you thought it was Ash Thursday?
No, I thought Ash Wednesday was happening this Thursday.
Wow. You are
Yeah.
a dimwit.
Yeah.
Damn wet.
You
Go
didn't.
ahead.
All I know is that I am thankful to be with you all enjoying this Fat Tuesday,
Well.
which is obviously that's our beer
And
tonight.
our longleaf IPA.
Our Longleaf IPA.
Yes.
But we're going to tell you what we think about it here. We've already
the
kind of
others.
started early. We've already taken some sips. In fact, Keith,
We have
Sean, show your
We
show
all
yours.
What? Show my what?
Your
your
cup.
glass. Show
Your-
your,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, he's already
Would
started
you
drinking.
sit that on the sign
beer.
with the other, sir, so that they can all.
God.
Oh, whoa!
Luckily it's empty.
Oh,
Oh,
almost,
man.
He almost had a
Oh,
spill there in his
man.
iPood. But no, I'm glad to be enjoying this Fat Tuesday with you all before Lent begins. I don't know. We're going to talk about it a little bit
We
later
are.
in our Vices segment if we're giving up anything or what we should give up. Obviously, it's not going to be beer because we got like 4 more to do.
People are going to think I'm drunk. 'Cause I was like, are you giving anything up Lent?
Well, you know, Lent. I like beer. Give up Lent.
Well, I was going to say,
Neil says I'm giving up on dropping beer.
what?
He's
not
giving
go-
up on dropping beer.
Yeah, he's
not
giving up
gonna-
on giving
Oh,
up on beer.
Giving
Right.
up on giving up
Yeah,
beer.
yeah.
I got you. That's very nice.
Yeah.
That's very nice. He's been posting a lot of pictures lately. I'm just saying.
Well,
a lot
they-
of great pictures.
been-
He's one of
from
those
Neil
people
traveling, so-
that posts them separately.
But he always does this. I think throughout the year he does like a photo dump,
He does a
Yeah.
and it's beautiful because I always get to see the nice, pretty pictures litter my
Yeah.
news feed,
Yeah.
and it's better to see that than a lot of the other crap.
He
like
says because Sean
State
just
of the
dropped his
Union.
beer. I
what?
dropped my can of beer, and he says he's giving up on dropping beer.
So he's not going to.
But Sean didn't drop his beer.
Now it makes
He
sense.
dropped my empty.
What do
can,
we think
which is not
of
beer,
this
it's an empty
lovely
can.
long leaf IPA? What do we think of it?
I think it's delicious.
It's not my favorite that we've tried so far, but it is good.
You even said it was a little bit more bitter.
yeah, I'm just
then-
not.
yeah.
When it's bitter, kind of on the back end, on the back of your tongue, I'm not a huge fan of that. But I'll drink it.
He's stated before he's not an IPA fan. He
beer.
likes beer, but he's not an IPA.
like
fan.
beer. I like beer.
So, I think you're more of like the citrus sweet type beers.
I
and so-
do.
yeah,
I like.
yeah.
I
Well,
like
it's,
that.
It's
yeah.
probably going to be so far. I would think Sean was your favorite so far. Was it the Wicked Weed?
No, I think the
The last
Appalachian?
week.
last week, yeah,
was my
that
favorite.
one was good.
Oh, which one was that? Oh,
was
the
good.
Terrapin
Laguna or
Luau.
Luau.
The-
yeah.
the
The
Crunkle.
Terrapin Luau.
Terrapin
Crunkles.
Crunkles. Yeah, it was Crunkles. I remember Crunkles.
It was that one was pretty.
He had
Good.
some of that Crunkles.
All right, Dave Chappelle.
But no, it was.
When I hear that word.
What do you think of this one?
Crunkles. I like it. I like IPAs anyway, so I don't feel like it doesn't have as much of the hops as some do, but it definitely does hit you on the back end.
Yes.
It's got a hold on.
Yeah, go ahead. Give us a flavor note.
See, I feel like it is like when the first is a little bit. I want to say sweet, but not like a sugary sweet. Just kind of a not bitter and smoothness, and then that hops hits you at the end.
Yeah.
So
It's very crisp on the front end.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
it hits you with the bitterness on the back end.
that's
Yep.
a more streamlined way of Lexus, no one's talking to you.
Shut
today.
up!
Apple's spying on us right now.
God dang it.
They're not going to sell their products in Russia, so now they got spy on us.
Well,
So-
we're going to talk about that too.
Yeah, we do have
got
some
we got
stuff
a
in the
lot of great
headlines.
stuff in the headlines.
movie related. We're not just throwing in the world of. I mean, they are huge events going on right now, but we're not just throwing them in to throw them
Right.
in. There are some movie related.
We're going to touch on a little bit of the politicking that may go on in the State of the Union, but we're going to do it in a much more entertaining way.
Right.
I don't know actually.
Right.
It probably will be a little
I
entertaining.
I don't
tonight.
keep up on world events, but I heard what's going on in Yugoslavia is terrible.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Yep, absolutely.
But we do also have a great review as well.
Yes, we do. We're ratcheting down our yes,
Did you say rationing?
ratcheting.
I thought you said ratcheting.
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
Okay,
I did.
yeah.
I did. We're ratcheting down like
kinda-
our best picture nominations. So we're starting to kind of review as we get closer to the Oscars the ones that we haven't already reviewed. And this week's happened to be.
I don't think we're going to get them all unless we start doubling up.
we may
Oh,
not.
yeah.
And that's
I don't
okay.
think we will.
There's
I think
a few
we
of them
will.
we don't have to.
I think we will
honestly.
eventually. I don't
Next
think we
one-
will before the
next one
Oscars.
is
No,
Don't
we
Look
definitely
Up.
won't before the Oscars.
We
Yeah,
have to
but
watch
might.
Don't Look Up.
I already
Sean's
said
determined. Sean's determined.
I will not watch Don't Look Up unless it wins Best
Well,
Picture.
you know it's not going to win.
That's why I'm not going to watch it. It is strictly only nominated for that purpose alone. That people will watch it because it draws attention to it.
You
I
know
refuse.
who's been
Just like their
nominated a
fan
few
favorite
times?
category, which is a joke. And they have released
Oh,
the
I
front
forgot
runners
about
on
this.
Twitter. Yeah, you told me.
Okay, no, that's not the fan favorite moment. That's something completely different.
What?
That's the you get your fan favorite movie that they're voting on, which is a poll that they're going to announce. The cheer moment is
Well,
a
they
different
have
poll.
announced the final results of who you can vote for in the fan favorite
Oh,
poll.
really? Have they?
They released it today on Twitter. They
Okay.
they showed all the movies that are allowed
the ones that
for
finally
the
come through.
fan favorite
Well,
voting.
the one I was talking to you about is now they also have your
The
favorite,
finalists.
You have your favorite cheer moment that they're going to announce at the Oscars as
Oh,
well.
God.
And that was yes. You can vote. They're not
Forgot.
even movies from this year, except for Spider-Man.
Do you
No
vote
Way
on
Home.
Twitter?
Yes.
Oh, my
And they're going to announce the winner for this too.
Twitter's trying to remain
But
relevant.
this is what.
This is the
Academy's trying to
Academy
be
trying
I
to
know,
relevant.
but still, like it's like a win-win for Twitter.
They
It's
don't.
like
This is how badly they
stupid.
are irrelevant. Because me and Brandon were talking about this. The cheer moments, and these are the moments that made you cheer in the theater that they have that
No
you
Way
can vote
Home.
on.
That's
No
gonna
Way
win
Home,
that.
but they didn't pick the scene where the two Spider-Men are introduced. They picked the final fight scene. I was like, nobody
What?
cheered at the
Yeah,
final fight.
nobody
they
cheered for
at the
that.
portal scene when they came through. Then Avengers Endgame, when everybody comes through the portals and Cap says Avengers Assemble, I was like,
Yeah.
okay, that makes sense.
Yep.
But that was from 2019. That's not even a movie from this year. Zack Snyder's The Justice League, the Flash scene when he goes back in time, that's one. I was like, that wasn't even in theaters. How do you gauge that as a cheer moment when it never even
Yeah.
premiered in theaters? Matrix from 1999 with Neo dodging the bullets. I was like, I don't know.
From 99.
nobody cheered
It's
during
like you
that
didn't
though.
expect that. Yeah, it's
Well,
like, how do you
everybody
cheer?
was quiet and like, oh my god.
Yes,
like,
it's like you didn't even know to cheer.
You didn't know
like,
what it was.
Yes, and then Jennifer Hudson's performance in Dreamgirls. I was like, who cheered during Dreamgirls? Like, who's sitting in a theater and Jennifer Hudson singing and people are like, oh yeah!
Who
Like,
came up with these?
Well, not only that, I love that in
It's
99
terrible.
they picked The Matrix, but Phantom Menace came out in 99.
Which would have had
And you
a
don't
bigger
think that
cheer,
would have had
yeah.
a bigger cheer
Oh no,
at the
yeah.
beginning of
at
the credits?
beginning of the movie with
Yes.
the scroll. That's
It's-
when people
yes, exactly.
cheered. I was
but
there.
And people went and saw that,
God
you know,
almighty.
at least
But-
10 times.
I was just like, I don't know
Yeah,
what the
this is
Oscars
crazy.
tried to do to remain relevant, but it's not working. They're terrible.
Well, and of course we're going to talk about, you know.
do you have the nominees for fan favorite? I didn't.
No,
see
no, no,
those.
no.
Okay.
I didn't.
I
You
might
could
look
pull
those
it
up
up
later.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
could pull
I'm
it
not
up
gonna
while we
waste more
watch
time.
the review.
Yeah.
But it's funny because we're going to talk about that too, about the backlash from the Academy members themselves and how they responded to them putting a lot of the key categories before the show even
Oh
starts.
yeah. There's Academy members talking about quitting, about boycott. They're pissed. I mean,
Which
but we'll get to that.
We will. We'll talk about that in our headline section. But of course, we've already teased it enough. Here is our review of Paul Thomas Anderson's Licorice Pizza.
The world is a little bit crazy right now, and we all yearn for simpler times. A time when we were just trying to find our place in the world. Movies regarding lost souls looking for their purpose, or even just coming-of-age films, can be massively popular, and the best ones have often caught the eye of the Academy during award season. This year sees Paul Thomas Anderson once again receiving Best Picture love, but not for the more intense dramas he's done recently, but for a coming-of-age film done well. It goes without saying that Anderson is a prominent director at this point, having released several hits, many of which have seen their share of award nominations and wins. Anderson has made a variety of different films, from comedic drama Boogie Nights to dramatic thriller There Will Be Blood. Licorice Pizza, Anderson's latest film, airs closer to Boogie Nights than There Will Be Blood, though a fair bit more lighthearted and a lot less pornography are involved. Set in the 70s and telling the story of Alana Kane, played by Alana Haim, and Gary Valentine, played by Cooper Hoffman. Gary is a 15-year-old child actor when he meets Alana working as a photography assistant at Gary's school picture day. Gary is immediately smitten with Lana, who tells him he's too young for her. The two strike up a friendship as they grow closer, and the film navigates their relationship as it builds and as they each find their place in the world in their own ways. Anderson's film feels both old and new all in one. Set in 70s-era California, the movie uses the backdrop to great effect. Gary is oftentimes immature and impractical, trying to be older than he actually is, with more self-centered attributions. Gary's next scheme in his mind is always the one to cement his greatness. Alana is pulled by the need to do something important with her life and find her place while also struggling with the desire to be as carefree and immature as Gary. Using the 70s for their coming of age allows for the climate of the time to keep things simple in a way a modern movie couldn't. There are no cell phones and no internet, only what the characters are doing in the present. Throughout the film are smaller roles filled by bigger named actors, with Bradley Cooper having already been a major standout to critics. The use of each character and the hijinks the main characters fall into can at first seem sporadic and disjointed. Gary is concocting a plan to sell waterbeds one minute, then being thrown into a cop car the next. But everything always comes back to the characters, and as the overarching themes of purpose and growing up come into play, the film's sporadic nature and charming characters create something simple and charming. Something lacking in so many Hollywood films today. Licorice Pizza, however, is another Oscar nominee this year that doesn't reinvent the wheel. It's well-crafted, well-acted, charming and entertaining, and certainly one of the better films I've seen this year. But even from Anderson, it's not doing anything new. Just something we haven't seen from him or Hollywood in a while. And while I welcome the slow return of these richer films, it's almost as if Hollywood is having to relearn how to make them. Licorice Pizza is a well-made and entertaining movie in the end. While I have my share of gripes, I think I mostly just wanted more out of the story than what I got. Well made in all aspects, it just didn't do anything for me in a way that screams best film of the year. But again, not many films this year have been better either. I give Licorice Pizza 3 out of 4 stars.
3. Well, that doesn't sum up a.
Sorry. We're over here laughing
No.
about stuff.
Actually,
Get
can
down.
anybody tell
Damn,
us?
dog.
Not you, Keith. Not you.
Okay, I'll tell you.
Beat your pooch in a minute.
Whoa. She just gets excited. She
Beating
can't help
pooches.
it.
That's not sexual at
He's
all.
beating pooches.
I don't know. It sounded like it to be. She's getting spayed next week, guys.
Oh, that might calm her down a little bit.
I hope. I hope, because she's getting a little antsy. See, she's trying to again this. Oh,
I wouldn't care so much, but my iPad's dead and I really need it plugged in. And she
okay.
keeps
Come here,
yanking
Edie.
that cord.
Come here. Calm down, girl. No, can anybody tell us what a licorice pizza is? Not you, Keith. Don't
I
you
know what
dare.
it is.
What? Hold on. Tell us.
It's a record.
All right. Did you look it up?
No, Keith told me tonight.
I would have said not you, Sean, if I had known that.
Kristen, I said something about the movie. And she goes, "Well, that sounds gross." I was like, "Well, it's a record." And then she goes, and then she's like, "Oh yeah." And I was like, "Well, that's what the movie because it takes place in the '70s."
Yeah.
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 I mean, it's funny
But
because
she had a good point though. An actual licorice pizza would be gross.
well, and it's funny because I brought that up to you last night when you came over to record the review, and I said I thought it kind of matched the idea of what a licorice pizza would be with these two characters kind of becoming, they learn to love each other, but they don't go together.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I thought,
That's a good idea
Licorice on a
too.
pizza.
Yeah,
That's
that's a
right.
good idea too.
I
It
could
was
see
wrong,
somebody.
but it's a good idea.
I could see somebody.
Yeah, who are you to say that it's wrong?
Thank you.
Because the truth is
It could be like
objective.
be like a rival. It could be
You're right.
super deep.
You're right.
It
His
is
deep
deep.
meaning.
Brandon's truth says that it was about that.
My
so.
truth is right.
Deep dish licorice pizza.
But honestly, yeah,
I
mean,
still wouldn't eat it.
I did like the movie. I do like.
Mhm.
Paul Thomas Anderson can be hit or miss for me, but his bigger ones I have. I mean, I love Boogie Nights for sure.
Oh, yeah.
There Will Be Blood was good. The Master with Joaquin Phoenix, he was brilliant in that. So I do think he has made plenty of great movies, and this is definitely a solid one. I felt. As far as best pictures go, it still didn't blow me away, but none of the ones really have this year been where I'm
Right.
like, oh, this is better than anything else I've seen. But I do think this is one of the best movies this year.
It
It's
was-
just a weak year. I
Yeah,
think.
I felt like it's lighthearted. It's
Mhm.
got good emotional moments, and it was just a happy, fun movie. Like I
And
found,
I
I
appreciate
found
that.
myself smiling and laughing. And
Yes.
I didn't grow up in the '70s, but my dad did, and just hearing him talk about it, and he's always been someone that, like we just went to the flea market here in Louisville, and you go to a place like that and you see all this old stuff. You see these old toys. You see records.
Yeah.
You see even clothes and stuff. And it's just like it kind of takes him back in time, and seeing him go back in time I don't
It
know. I
helps you
enjoy
go
it.
back in time,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Well, I can't go back in time because I wasn't there, but it helps me enjoy it.
mean,
I don't
it
know.
gives
Back to the Future
It's-
guitar
Yeah, but it
sound,
still gives you
baby.
a kind of a sense of
It
that
was-
nostalgia for him. Kind
It
of gives you
does,
to understand
yeah.
the importance of that.
And
era.
just seeing all these things in the movie. There's some cars and stuff in the movie. Same thing happened to me with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like there's just things. The movie just had a great tone, and I don't know. It was one of the more enjoyable movies I've watched this year. But I do echo what you said. I'm kind of like, had this year been packed with some films like Fences and 12 Years a Slave and like those kind of films, I wouldn't consider this a Best Picture nominee.
Yeah.
But with what it's up against, it is
Oh, yeah.
definitely one of the more
It's-
fun films.
It's better than West Side Story. Don't Look Up.
Oh, yeah.
I liked
Power
it more.
of
The
the
Power
Dog.
of the Dog. Yes.
Power of dog shit.
And yeah, that's what I put in the synopsis.
Yeah.
That's what you described the
Um,
movie as.
And yeah, it's one of those things where, like I said it in my review, I feel like almost it's like Hollywood's relearning how to make some of these types of movies because they've been so caught up in a lot of like their own BS that now that some of these directors are just wanting to make a solid movie, it's almost like it's done extremely well. Like I'm not knocking it at all.
I was gonna say this
but-
is one of those films that would you would say in later or earlier years, this cried Oscar bait.
Yes,
And I ain't
Oh,
gonna lie, the moment I saw the trailer, I mean, we were all interested and wanted to see it.
Oh, but it was
But
definitely
you immediately
knew.
with Sean Penn, Bradley Cooper just having cameos. It's like you immediately knew it screamed.
Paul Thomas Anderson
Yeah.
alone that's a director that typically makes movies for Oscars.
And I will say
so-
this definitely feels like one of his movies.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
However, it at least I think was lighthearted enough and done well enough that it does not actually I think match the same maybe tone they were going for in the trailer, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah.
Because again, I think we've brought it up multiple times on the show, and I'm constantly growing closer to like our friend Neil's opinion of I don't want to see a trailer before I see a movie because it spoils too much now. And I think honestly, I agree with you. I think
They've
so
lost
much.
the art of making trailers. I feel like I like
no
the
doubt.
ones like Dark Knight,
Copy paste.
where like literally like the first 20 minutes was all you saw in the trailer, and the other 2 hours you were completely blown
Well,
away.
Yeah.
I would say there's definitely a trend in trailers, for a certain, time period.
Oh, yeah.
And that trend changes, and once you get one that's interesting.
I remember
that
the time
sticks
when
and it's
Three Doors
popular.
Down was in every freaking movie trailer. I was like, I'm tired of hearing Three Doors Down in these dang trailers. This is awful.
Oh, for the longest time, and I remember I think I remember talking about it on the podcast. I was annoyed that they would do all of these covers of these classic songs.
Oh, but they would
and
be
they would
terrible
lace
covers.
they were awful. They were like these slow, moody covers of these like great classic songs, and I'm like, just use the original. This is a terrible way to promote this film.
Yep.
But at least I feel like you can tell that Paul Thomas Anderson has a love for this era, and definitely it mixes in the whole Dazed and Confused coming of age story, but it's much more rooted and grounded in the relationships of the two characters it focuses on, and it doesn't miss that premise throughout the movie like I thought maybe the trailer was going to lead me to. I thought it was going to be a lot more disjointed than it was, and it definitely takes you on a different trails where you're kind of like, where's this leading to? Is this? Do I need to go down this road?
I had this. There were several times and I mean, more so at the beginning of the movie, because by the end, and I kind of got a feel for what was going on and how the things kind of did connect. Yep. There was definitely at the beginning, like I mentioned that in the review too, how he go from like him concocting this scheme to sell waterbeds, and then all of a sudden he's being arrested, and I'm like, what's going on here? Like, what the heck just happened?
Yeah.
And it all plays out, but at first it does feel kind of very disjointed, and it took me a little bit more to get into it at first, but honestly, the characters, the dialogue, their cadence and chemistry back and forth was really well done.
The script is great.
Yeah. Well, it's, honestly, the script reminds me more of his work with Boogie Nights, less adult, obviously, because it's not about pornography, but just the narrative structure and the way the characters speak to each other was definitely more of a Boogie Nights vibe than some of his later, more thriller-esque movies. And I really
nuance, but realistic.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't know. To me, that was... I agree with you in the comment of it's like Hollywood's learning how to make these kind of films again. I think you still have these few directors that have these kind of love letters to film in general, but also have always made films this way, and they're always going to. I mean, whether it's if you're in a certain class with Tarantino or Wes Anderson or Scorsese, they're always going to have their type of signature on the film that they create regardless. But I do think that we are getting out of a time period where we're starting to see that kind of, that study and even, I don't want to say favoritism isn't really the right word, the honoring of film and its history. You're getting less and less of those, and you are getting. That's why I think of so many of these directors who are coming out and saying, they're disappointed in the Marvel universe, or even Denis Villeneuve saying, "Oh, it's cut, copy, and paste, or it's cookie cutter." Not Denis Villeneuve. I'm sorry. I forget who we brought up last week who was saying that about Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Francis Ford Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
But he was talking about Denis Villeneuve and the person who directed No Time to Die.
Any director could take those films and it'd be exactly the same. And to an extent, I kind of agree with that, but also the really good directors, I mean, can take a franchise film and put it, like, look at Taika Waititi with Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
That is a very different movie from other Marvel movies. So it really takes, I think, a certain type of talent to come in and be like, we still have to follow a certain formula because it's part of Marvel, but we can do something more unique with
Exactly.
Rian Johnson with Star Wars. I mean,
he just completely changed
Absolutely.
everything.
I mean, subverted expectations to nobody's end, and we loved it for it.
Yeah.
Sarcasm. But at the
is
end
that
of the
what that
day,
was?
no. I really do think that this is at least one of the better films of the year, but it's sad because, like you said, I don't think it's one that I would stand to. It's not that I wouldn't enjoy watching it again. It's not one I'm going to go out of my way to watch again. I would enjoy it, sitting around drinking with you all and maybe seeing it.
I would rather watch like Boogie Nights again because I freaking love Boogie Nights. So
all-time favorite.
And granted, I know two
Yeah.
completely different. Like one's definitely a lot more friendlier as far. Like I wouldn't call this a family-friendly film, but it's definitely not as.
But you are right in the sense that it is not one of those pivotal films that you want to come back to. That's just going to stake its claim in. Oh, this has to exist in film history.
Yeah.
Boogie Nights is one of those that I think it was so unconventional at the time, and it still is to a degree.
Well, it's only the second movie he ever made too.
Yeah.
So
and it's just like when do you ever see really the normal, quote unquote, normal lives of like a porn star? And you actually see some normal struggles.
The less gratifying. Like they try to make the porn industry makes it look like, oh look, I mean, it's beautiful and these people love what they're doing, and like that actually shows you like the ramifications.
These people
and
are
consequences.
broken.
Yeah, it does. It shows broken people, and
And
it shows a
Well,
little bit
I
of the
mean,
truth.
to be fair, at the same time, it does show the family side of that.
Well, yeah,
And
I mean,
not like not the kind of family we're
runs
talking
in the
about.
family.
I'm just talking about in
They
that
are gonna
film.
look
Those
out for each
people
other
are a
in the
family,
industry, yeah.
and again, probably back in that time, people in that industry definitely.
well, they probably
were,
didn't have anyone but each other.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying nowadays,
But again, it's nuanced, and that's what I like
Yeah.
about this film is when you have a good movie, it's always going to revolve around characters that are more complex than just sticking a stereotype on them.
Yeah.
And these characters, no doubt, it's a coming of age film. No doubt, it's about maturity, and that theme runs throughout the entirety of the film. And you show the differences in maturity level of this young kid and this woman he's attracted to, and she's a young woman trying to find her place and figure out what she's going to do with her life. And it's a thread that runs throughout the whole movie, and it doesn't necessarily throw breadcrumbs out there for you to just piece together this perfect narrative of where it wants you to end up with thinking
Well, it
about
has,
these
like
characters.
you said, nuance.
Yeah,
And I
go-
was
no,
just
no, go
saying-
ahead,
I was
yeah.
just saying, it has nuance and a nice attention to detail. I think I mentioned to you the scene I died cracking up on was because it was a
There's so
background.
many.
Well, because it was a background thing, and when she comes back to the pinball arcade to like find him. It shows her walk up to her friend to ask where Gary is. And you see the adult man that he was going to throw out for rocking the machines that told him to F off.
Yeah.
He's in the background. And if you pay attention, like when she walks up, there's a girl standing next to him watching him play pinball and tilt the machine. And then as she goes to leave, the girl, like you see, like as she walks up, the girl like walks closer to this guy. As she goes to leave, the girl's now in between the guy and the pinball machine, and he's like humping her, smacking her. And I was like, it's a completely background thing, but I
Yeah.
happened to see it
Yeah.
and I was just dying laughing. And it's like and I mean that's not the only attention. There's like attention to detail in the
Yeah.
70s aesthetic, including like the oil crisis that was going
Yeah.
on as part
Oh,
of
yeah.
the story, and that was another great instance
Yeah.
of showing the age gap. She's like,
yeah.
"Do you understand what this means?" And he's like, "He's 15. He doesn't
No,
know. He doesn't care."
yeah.
And she's like, "They need oil to make the dumb mattresses that you've been selling." So
Yep.
Well, and I love that too. I love how innocent yet and juvenile they are in their thinking,
Yeah.
and how it truly is. I think what freaking teenagers are gonna do in their spare time when they're just fooling around or doing stuff. Whether it's with each other or with just what again. Part of what this kid and what attracts her to him is he's an opportunist, and she hates that about him. But yet, that's also what makes him, he's alluring.
Yeah.
And I think that again, they do a good job of establishing that with every character.
Trying to get that
get my
stand.
stand ring.
Oh, he's got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
If you don't know how to cheat in Apple Watch, this is it.
Well, here's the thing. I didn't put my watch on until 1
just
o'clock
jack
today.
off.
So I didn't put my. I mean, I've stood more than 12 hours already, but I didn't put my watch on until like 1 o'clock today. So I only have till midnight.
He looks like a racist
To get-
Atlanta Braves fan.
It's
to
like
me.
Commanders. But it's one of those
Not
things.
like
where
Commanders!
I got 2 hours to get,
Yeah.
which means from
No.
9 to 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12, and 3 hours. And it's like, technically I could get it from 10 to 11 and 11 to midnight, but that means I have to at least stay up till 11 o'clock. And I probably
knows?
will, but who knows? I'm just going to go
You
ahead.
could.
I'm
sit
gonna be
down.
safe. I'm
Just
gonna
don't
be
knock
safe
that
now.
beer over
I'm
because
gonna
you
be
look like
safe.
you're
I
getting
think you've
close.
got it
I
by
think
now.
I do. I think we'll see.
Did you
You
get
made
it?
me stop. I'm gonna be mad.
Which, hey, shout out to
No, I
our
got it.
our
We're
good
good.
buddy Melissa.
I got it. We're good.
Melissa Burris, who may or may not be watching, her husband usually watches, Jacob.
Yeah.
Melissa closed all her
I
rings.
only need one more hour.
You only need one more. Good for
Yeah,
you.
I got it. One more hour.
Melissa closed all her rings. Good for you, Melissa.
So did Megan.
Megan, shout out
did
to you.
And in one more
Hey.
hour, so do I. Look at that. In one more hour, all four of us.
Sean's Apple Watch is dead.
My Apple Watch is dead, man.
Oh, man.
And
Battery
you know
just
what? The
doesn't
Russians
last.
are just
I
laughing
have
at
you
us.
on
We
here, too.
track you.
Yeah.
I got Sean
Well,
on
that's
here
China.
too.
That's true.
Oh yeah, Sean's at 17% right now.
Yeah. my watch has been dead all day, so it hasn't
Well,
tracked anything.
I do want
Sorry, I
to
didn't
alert
mean
our
to call you
viewers. I want to alert our viewers. So look, we actually are not that far from having reviewed all the Best Picture noms, because I believe we did Nightmare Alley. We did
did.
that on a Dead Week,
we
right?
got like four more. We have not reviewed
No,
King Richard.
I'm
Don't
not
Look
reviewing.
Up.
We're not reviewing. Don't look up.
Okay,
It's
well,
Ixnay.
I'm just saying of the one.
Now Sean can give us his opinion.
Okay, in that, then we have three more: King Richard, Coda, and Drive My Car. I already know the
Yeah,
ones we need.
yep.
But we only
Yeah.
have 2 dead weeks before the Oscars.
Yeah, we are reviewing
Drive My Car.
the Batman next week.
That's subtitles, right?
Drive My Car is
I'm not gonna
entirely in
wanna watch that one.
Japanese, so if we
I hate
can't
that.
reach that one, because most of our viewers probably don't want it, they're not that interested. I say King Richard and
I think
Coda
we'll get it.
probably.
I think we'll at least give you our opinions if we're
Oh,
going
I'm
to
gonna
watch
watch them all. I'm
Yeah.
just saying we may not review them on the show, but we will have seen them.
I do
all.
want to try to review them, even if they don't. Because here's the thing.
I've seen all of them so far, but Coda, Drive My Car, and Don't Look Up.
But I think
so-
that if we review them even formally and put them up on the website, even if they don't make it on the show,
I guess I could do.
Because
that.
here's the thing. I think
can do that.
since
Don't Look Up as well. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I
Well,
can-
because
can do
since
that.
we've started this podcast, I think every year we've at least have all the Best Picture
We have.
winners reviewed
and I'll do that.
or nominations.
I'll write a
reviewed.
review for the rest.
Yeah.
I only need to watch 3 more. I've seen the rest.
Okay, we'll get on it.
I've also been watching some of the acting noms because, like, I did watch Being the Ricardos, and that was good.
It was
It was
good.
good. I liked it.
Worth the praise that it's receiving.
It's better than some of the other Best Picture nominees. So
I haven't seen that one yet either.
I need to see that one
it's
too.
I understand why it wasn't nominated, but at the same time, it's better than some of the other nominees. So it's kind of like it would have been like Licorice Pizza. Like if it didn't get the nom, I would understand why. But it is a good movie for the year. It's just a weak year. So.
Well, I think it's time to head into the tricky territory of talking about politics and movies.
yeah, let's go.
Our audience knows we never like to go to politics.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
We do.
That
With the topics
that
we're
was
talking
perfect.
about,
yeah.
we need one of those oligarchs boat. Alrighty, guys. I'm gonna play the headline open,
Okay.
but I think I'm ready for another. I don't know if you all want another beer. Keith doesn't.
I'm not done with mine yet.
He's
Yeah.
not nearly done. Are you done with yours?
He's almost.
It's almost gone.
I mean, I would drink another one.
You would?
Well, yeah.
All right. Well, we'll maybe think about that a little bit. let's roll our headlines open.
I would.
All right, let's talk about some headlines. So,
Headlines.
the bigger question here before we get into the
had
thick
to.
of it is Sean, I think his now just went into a stupor.
No,
He's got a
Just-
headache
I
or
look
something.
down and I have no idea why I have a tab open about Zack Snyder's Justice League. And I just
Siri
looked down.
heard me.
Yeah, look down and it says Zack Snyder's Justice League, and I
So
started
not
laughing.
only did Siri on my iPad activate, but apparently it heard you too on yours and
but
Google Justice
for it
League.
to open a tab in Safari and
I don't
start
know.
looking for it, no.
Apple's always
Come on.
listening, man.
They are.
Come
Always
on.
listening.
They are.
But not in Russia.
Nope, not anymore. Let's talk about that though.
And they're not the only
with,
company
with
to pull
regards to the film industry, because we had 3 major companies
Yeah.
in the film.
That we know of so far. They're the only ones announced. So Disney, I think, was the first to announce that they were pulling their releases from Russia cinemas.
and then Warner Brothers and Sony followed.
And it was for a time, like literally just yesterday, Warner Brothers said they were going ahead with their release of the Batman in Russia, and then the very next
not
day, today,
anymore.
they were like, "Never mind, we're pulling out." So kind of, here's the thing: I agree with them pulling out, but it's kind of like, why are we doing it now? Like, what's the like? I don't know.
Soapbox.
It's always going to be.
I always question some of their that nobility and whether they're doing it for the right reasons.
Oh, there's nothing noble about it.
Exactly.
No, no.
And they're going to
Here's
sit
the
there and say
thing.
we're going to lose so much money, but let's face
Warner
it.
Brothers waited until after Disney and Sony said we're pulling out to be like, okay, never mind, we won't launch Batman.
Well, come on now. The most powerful government in the world waited until after the invasion to put sanctions on.
No, I would
So-
agree.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Again, when you have somebody who is lacking, it's not just nobility, but courage.
Yeah.
When someone is lacking
Well, just
courage to do the
morality.
right thing. Well, yes. When you were, I mean, I remember it as a tale as old as time. But
The tale as old as time.
But no, I remember every single day at Butler. They started the morning announcements, but they would always end it with the phrase "and do the right thing."
Yep.
And I thought it was so cheesy
Yeah.
when I was a freshman.
Well, some of the
but
people looking now, some of the people needed to hear that, and they didn't listen.
Of course not.
Yep.
And honestly, that's why it needs to continue to be said, because we're constantly faced with, in this day and age, a rebuttal against morality, and we look no further than the evidence of Russia invading Ukraine. And the fact of the matter is that these companies, you know, here they are, the first people on the front lines when it comes to woke ideology and creating the first kind of cancel culture mentality when it comes to any kind of bad publicity.
Well, they still bow down, like they still do all of the edits and cuts to their movies to appease China. So it's like it's not about the moral ground, because
Right.
if it was,
They have
Yeah.
no
it was
moral
like-
backbone at
if
all.
it was about the
None.
moral
China has slavery and
Exactly.
genocide.
If it was about,
At
they
the
have
same
they
time.
have concentration
And,
camps,
yeah,
and
exactly.
it's like if Hollywood was really going for the moral approach, they wouldn't kowtow to all these edits they need to make to release in China either, who's not releasing their movies anyways. So. It's one of those things where I think it is kind of a save face moment to look what we're doing to help out. We're not going to release our movies there.
Well, and
It's
again,
kind
the
of a
fact that it took a
show-offy-
domino effect of Disney pulling out first,
Yeah.
and then they were kind of like, okay, we could take the hit. Like, now we won't put the Batman. And the Batman was clearly going to be, I think, the bigger winner there, because Turning Red, the Pixar
That's
new
Pixar
film.
with Disney. Yeah,
that,
no one
that
cares.
I mean, come on. That wasn't going to beat
Well,
the Batman.
Turning red, maybe Russia, red. I don't think that's the red they're
You'll
talking
see this
about. but
propaganda film.
it's like this isn't about Russia at all. It's about some Asian
that
girl.
accent was great.
propaganda film.
What was Ocelot? Mother Russia could rot for all I care. Revolver Ocelot.
Revolver Ocelot, man, Metal Gear Solid's great.
I love
but no, it's serious. I'm like, to me, because even Apple kowtow.
Yep,
Look, Apple is
Apple
the
did
biggest
it, yep.
company in the world. They are worth $300 trillion on the stock market. That's their market cap. So you can't sit here and tell me that they somehow are waiting for the winds of morality. Again, it all comes back to how is the blowback going to come on us? And they're looking at their bottom line. That's why I think it's absolute bogus. I'm not saying these companies aren't doing the right thing. By all means, any little bit of support helps. But these are woke corporations that ultimately care about not only their bottom dollar, they don't care that it's going to hurt them and their bottom dollar as long as it hurts everybody else
I
that's
do
in the
have a
same
question.
competition.
I don't believe it really is going to hurt them. That's why I don't feel like there is any sense of a sacrifice.
True.
If you're not going to feel the burn from the statement you're trying to make, then you're not really making a statement or the sacrifice.
And that actually goes to another point. And again, I don't know enough about it that I'm going to act like an expert, but it is a question I was going to bring up to you because it is something I read recently, and I don't know how true it is, but they did say that part of with all the sanctions going on in Russia would make it a little bit more costly for them to release over there anyways. So how much? And I don't know. Like I said, I don't know that that's
Right,
true.
what's the difference?
But it's but if that is true, that it would cost them a little bit more to release. How much are they sacrificing? Or is this one of those ways? It's like, well, with the sanctions anyways, it's not really worth it. And again,
Right.
I'm not gonna. That's just something that I'd like to look into a little bit more because I do think that's interesting. Because does that show that maybe their motives aren't as altruistic as they want? To be?
Absolutely not. And honestly, it's like, I mean, it's funny because I do want to bring up some articles from even like apart from the film studios that even made the announcement that they weren't going to release their latest films. And of course, every single one of them ended with the statement of, we're going to continue on with this matter as it's forthcoming and as we continue to gain
At some
information.
point, we're going to decide, let's let Russia watch our movies.
Well, of course, because it's a business. And at the end of the day, that's what they care about. They care about, are they going to make money? And we've been after this a lot on the show regardless. I don't, look, if you're in business for business sake, then just play that way. But don't sit here and act like your favorite business or favorite brand is somehow falling in line with your values and you're going to willingly support them. I buy Apple because of the products they make. And as of lately, I'll be honest with you, as of recently, they don't make the greatest products.
No.
They are far beyond or far behind
like they
what they
used
used
to,
to be
Yeah.
in terms of quality.
But now you're kind of stuck in the ecosystem.
Yeah.
So it's the choice that you have to make.
It's really a harder choice to have to make that jump. And trust me, it's not like they're beyond understanding that. But at the same time, I understand they are a business. They're in it for making money. And the moment that their quality of products drops so badly because of the causes they believe in, then absolutely I will jump ship. And that's the tightrope that a lot of these companies are facing. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, that's the bandwagon they're all on. So don't sit here and get confused with thinking these corporations somehow have some virtuous value system that is going to lead them through, the Russian invasion of Ukraine and make them stand on the, I mean, look, if anybody deserves credit, it's Elon Musk, who freaking just overnight they asked, hey, we need Starlink and we need internet here through satellite in case our antennas and our towers get
he's
knocked
even
out. Boom, he said
volunteered,
it's done.
He's volunteered to, like, Russia's made threats about abandoning the space station and letting it crash into Earth, and he said, if they do that, I'm happy to take SpaceX in and help keep it up there. So
I mean, again,
he's volunteered plenty.
No doubt. But I want to bring up two other articles that we have linked in our notes below in the section. You'll see them whenever this posts later on. But we have the Ukrainian director Sergei Lozin. I'm going to butcher this name. Loznitsa. But
It's Invasion of Ukraine. What is that? Set to open on March 3rd.
oh,
as
it's
part
a
of the
video.
film
This is
festival.
oh. What was,
video.
what was I
going
just
on?
saying about Apple and how terrible they are? There you go. Good old Safari playing ads. No, but he actually he ridiculed the European Film Academy over its shameful response of the invasion, and he withdrew his membership. He said, "What a shameful text has been generated by the European Film Academy. The invasion in Ukraine is heavily worrying to us. For 4 days in a row now, the Russian army has been devastating Ukrainian cities and villages, killing Ukrainian citizens. It is really possible. Is it really possible that you humanists, human rights, and dignity advocates, champions of freedom and democracy, are afraid to call war a war, to condemn barbarity, and to voice your protests?" And I mean, this is exactly, I think he's right. It's like, how do you come out in all of these different avenues, in the films that you preach, in the films that you award, like Don't Look Up? It's easy to go after a straw man or after something as foreign. And when I say foreign, I mean as far away as a problem like climate change is, that does no tangible effect on the actual way you interact right now with the people around you, to say this is the big bad evil that we've got to face.
Yep.
Never mind that the consequences of what may or may not happen, that I'm overblowing, the proportions that I'm overblowing are not they're gonna long last beyond my lifetime, so I don't have to be held accountable personally. But here in the moment, we have an exact example of an instance where you have the chance to decry this evil and you choose not to. You choose fluffery because you don't know how it's going to come back on you, how it's going to have blowback on you. And trust me, this will have blowback on those industries because it shows how feckless they are. And I don't mean just with foreign countries either. I mean with the United States in general, just like you brought up, Sean, how weak the sanctions have been. How much have we really tried to help the Ukrainian people? I'm thankful for so many of the individuals who have stood up on their own morality to help in the ways that they can. But it takes more than that in an effort to stop the tyranny of evil, like Russia and Putin.
Yeah, well, and sometimes when these companies and individuals, when they do make their stand, whether it's too little too late or not, if they're jumping on a bandwagon, then I revert back to what I said before. It just dilutes the whole purpose and meaning that they're trying to, or the attention that they're trying to raise, and a lot of it is just diverting attention. The Babylon Bee had that great article that I shared with you all
Russian
today.
release
It's
calendar.
funny.
About the
But-
Russian release calendar?
No,
Sorry,
but
I love these autoplays.
It's joking about how Putin just ended COVID, and
Yeah.
it's like, yes, now that this thing is going on with Ukraine, nobody is saying a word about COVID.
Oh, no, COVID's
We
over.
jump from one bandwagon to another.
Yep.
And it's Ukraine,
how
so
many
all the mask
memes-
mandates are over.
I would say, you
and
know how many
everything. I'm
memes
just like,
I've
that's
seen of like
insane.
COVID's walking out the door and a nuclear missile's walking in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like how the interchanging
Yeah.
of headlines just happens overnight.
So it just kind of makes you wonder, okay, so when things finally level out, and I pray to God that they do soon for Ukraine and Russia and the peace of every nation, what's the next thing going to be that these companies just decide, oh, well, here's a new cause that I'm going to throw my towel in there and jump in.
Yeah.
And it's like, are you really doing that because you care or because you believe in that cause? Or are you same thing with some of the stuff that we had a year or two ago going on in the streets of our own city? It's like, are you going and protesting because you really believe in that cause? Or are you just doing it because you want to throw bricks and be a part of it?
And I think the truth is apparent in the measures that they are taking to help. When you do the least amount possible and say, "Oh, look how I'm contributing," it's like, are you doing
This
this
isn't
because
hurting
you,
me at
yeah.
all,
It's like,
but
are
I'm
you
doing- yeah.
Are you really trying to help, or you just know that this is a situation that you have to have some type of stance on, so you don't look bad in the media or look bad
Well,
to
and
your
again,
customers.
we're constantly seeing that pressuring in the society in general, because everything nowadays it's so weird how powerless the individual is, because we've literally handed over our liberties to greater powers and invested in the governments of countries around the world. But then at the same time, how also incredibly powerless we are, but we have this huge megaphone regarding social media, and this way to get our own personal thoughts out there, and yet this is the best we can come up with. It literally takes individuals standing up and fighting for their own country, and even the leader of Ukraine coming out and then giving an impassioned speech to rally the troops and rally the people behind him, and him saying, I don't need a plane to exit. I need more ammo. I need to fight.
Yeah.
And again, it's like, regardless of whether it's propaganda from their side trying to push how they're standing up against, the totalitarian
more than some of our
nature.
own leaders would do.
Absolutely.
They'd be hunkered down in the bunker right now.
Yeah.
It's like, I'd love to see our president put a vest and a helmet on and a gun and go fight with his men.
And I know.
Come on.
And that's the sad part, is we've become so comfortable in our own livelihoods that we have not known a struggle that if it met us on the doorstep, we would cower.
Oh, and
these are
clear,
people
yeah.
who clearly live. I mean, that's what I think about with Israel and Palestine. And look, again, I don't want to get into another huge political argument, but Israel is constantly facing under threat. The Palestinian people trying to destroy the state of Israel to the point of saying they don't deserve to exist. And yet that's a neighbor right next door. Mm-hmm. And yet here we are, we have two oceans in between us. The greatest threat we may have is a bunch of truckers to the north who at least want to put the stop on a totalitarian Justin Trudeau.
Right.
And it's at least we have some kind of, built-in response of resisting, top-down force. But in a lot of these other countries overseas, they don't have that. And it takes those who have that freedom and that liberty to stand up as one voice and say, we're not going to wait for a bigger partner to make
we just
this decision.
need to mind our own business. I hate that.
I know.
I've seen a lot of that online, and I'm just like, you people are cowards.
Stop policing the world is the one that I always see.
Yeah. Well, and
And
again,
I'm like, if we don't, who's going to?
right. Well, or even better yet, it's like, if you want to say that in terms of military force, I'm all for you at least having some kind of argument of, well, what American blood should be shed for this personal cause.
And I get that.
That's at least a fair argument. But even in that dialogue, how could you sit here and at all come on the side of not supporting the very nation that was invaded by their neighbor from the east to the point
some sick
of
people defending Russia and why? Well, don't you know they're doing this because of they're trying to get rid of the deep state and they don't want NATO in their backyard? It's like, that doesn't matter. It's an independent country. As soon as they invade, they're wrong. It doesn't. I'm sorry, just because you don't like what that country's doing doesn't give you the right to invade them, or just because you feel like that land should be yours and you need to take it back. I'm sorry, they're now an independent nation. You no longer have any cause or right to invade.
And you're hitting on a very particular point, which is the moment that you allow these actions to take place. I mean,
it's the moment you justify them. Yeah.
Well, not only justify them, but again, making ignorant choices like taking out forces on the world stage from the country of Afghanistan, turning over the land within a matter of days, it falling to the very enemy that we went in there to fight 20 years ago. And yet at the same time, here you are in the circumstance of showing your weakness, and you don't think that those who have some kind of, ambition aren't going to seize it? Yep. Of course they will. And that's exactly what Putin is doing, testing us on the world stage. He's wanting, and I pray and hope that enough of the world standing up. I mean, Europe, thankfully, is at least answering the call.
Yeah.
They're not only stiffening sanctions, they're I mean, Germany even announced they're removing a lot of their dependency. They've already increased 2% of their GDP to go towards their own military and building it up, which for so many years they let squander and fall
on the world
short
stage.
of.
They have one of the weakest militaries in the world.
Well,
Germany does.
Germany and Japan.
And
Japan
you think
doesn't
about that.
have
That's
a
coming from a
standing-
country that had the most powerful. Almost the most
Well,
powerful.
that's
Well,
part of the
reason
impact of-
why.
I know.
That's part of the
I
impact
know.
of World War II, because Japan doesn't even have a standing military
I know.
anymore. So it's just one of those things where you see
and
the
again,
ramifications of history.
when you talk about in that part of the world as Japan, you've got to look at the situation with China and Taiwan. They are watching this situation
Yes.
and how we react and how Europe reacts. If they allow it
and
to
how
go,
it plays out.
if they allow it to happen, then
Oh,
you're going to
yeah.
see China take Taiwan.
That's the next one.
Yeah.
It's sadly, I mean, and that's the thing. Like you were even saying, Keith, about history. It's like if you don't learn from it, you're doomed to repeat it. And the fact is we have far too many people who have been raised and been blessed with the peace times that we have been given over the last several decades here in the U.S. and the defeat of communism in Soviet Russia and thinking that, okay, we overcame that evil, that it won't fester. You know, Putin is a member of the
KGB.
KGB.
Yeah.
He's old school Soviet,
He wants to see Mother Russia rise again.
Yep.
It's part of his legacy. People like him, people like Xi Jinping from, wanting to be the dictator for life in China, people like Kim Jong-un, they have one thing in their legacy, in their bloodline, and that is to make a name for themselves, that they are immortalized in the pages of history. And it's our jobs as liberty-seeking people who stand for freedom to say, no, you're not going to oppress people on the way of making yourself this some supreme God that you see yourself as. And so, yes, I do think the film industry is making the right call here with these few corporations that are standing up and saying, we're not going to, release our films there for the time being, or even certain film festivals outright banning any kind of Russian-made film like Stockholm, the International Stockholm Film film. Why am I forgetting? Festival. It just I lost it.
My thought, which is what you said, and I was just thinking, one thing I take solace in, is the fact that when these dictators are dead and gone, they'll find out real quick that they are not God. They are going to find, and I mean, it's sad that you wish that they would get theirs now, that they couldn't oppress any more people. But at least we do know that in the afterlife, they will find out real quick just how wrong they were.
Indeed. Absolutely. Alrighty, guys. Just don't look to the film industry for your morals. That's all I can say.
Yeah, we may be a little bit more, but there's a lot
has
going
that
on
ever
right
been
now.
a horse that we haven't beat on this show? Is just, hey, at the end of the day,
they asked for it.
Yeah,
I'm just saying they're giving us ammunition to shoot at them. So I don't.
They deserve
just
every
like
shot.
the Ukraine government.
It's like when this is all over, they're not only are they going to stop banning films in Russia, they're going to continue to kowtow to China.
Yeah.
And they're going to continue to do, and it's just like, how do you expect us to take you seriously about your cause in Russia when you're still doing this in another communist nation that's killing its own people and taking freedom? I just don't.
Yep. I mean,
I don't buy it.
At the end of the day, it takes us waking up as America and truly putting thwarting those who stand to benefit the greatest from these regimes that are only looking to seek, success from the dollar.
I'm out of beer.
Uh-oh. I think
I've been out
that's
for
what
like
we have to worry
I've been
about.
I've been out
the
for
Red
like
Moon
8
studio.
minutes now. I just wanted to get through that
you wanted to
segment
get
first.
Well, we got another headline real quick.
know
we're
we
going
do.
to talk
I don't
about.
think I'm going to get another one.
You're not.
I don't think I can.
Sean doesn't
Even
wanna
that
get
you don't
too
think
close.
you can do the session beer.
These
It's
were
close enough to-
7%.
Yeah, but
These were a little higher. than our
I
other
take my
ones.
time and enjoy it. I don't. We got about 15, 20 minutes left.
Yeah, that's
Well, we have another headline in the unique segment.
I was going to say this other headline is going to be real quick because it's talking
Okay.
about what we kind of hinted at last week when the news first broke,
Yeah.
and that of course is the Oscars changing to where
Yeah.
some are going to be filmed beforehand, but surprisingly, a lot of the members of the Academy, and it was funny because apparently this news was announced on
I
a
was gonna
Zoom
say,
call.
they
weren't
blindsided.
even. They didn't know.
The Academy made it sound like they sat
Crazy,
down.
yeah.
They said the Academy said we sat down with different people from these different job categories, and we talked to them about the best way to proceed and the best way to be to gain viewership, and we all agreed. Like they made it sound like the people who were nominated for these categories understood what was going on, and they did.
Not the case.
They said that they got a Zoom call that just said, "Oh yeah, we're dropping y'all segments from live air." And they're pissed, and rightfully so. I mean, what are the awards about? Are they about Amy Schumer making terrible jokes? No, they're about the people who did the work.
No, it's about Regina Hall doing it.
I thought you were going to say Wanda Sykes. I mean,
They got 3 to pick
God.
from, and all 3 of them are terrible.
Yeah.
I don't think a single
I don't
one of
mind
them.
Wanda Sykes too much. It just kind of depends.
No,
Sometimes,
I'm not looking forward to any of them.
But no, because I already know the type of jokes they're going to make, and that's
Oh,
what's
yeah.
sad.
Of course. Yep.
It's like if they could go up there and actually be funny, it'd be fine. But they're not going to.
There was one specific response that I think hit the nail on the head, and honestly, and it was funny because the way the article was written, it's from Deadline, was talking about how the responses varied from very calculated and at least trying to just be calm and cool, collect about the response, and then all of a sudden they this one, oh gosh, hold on, I got to get down to it here. Come here, Edie, calm down, girl. Oh yeah. Yeah, this is it. And it says a past Best Editing Academy Award winner took off the white gloves in his own distinct reaction to the revamped Oscars. Dear Motion Picture Academy, your inane plans not only increasingly disrespect the crafts of your own members, but the art of filmmaking itself. Bohemian Rhapsody editor of the 2019 Bohemian Rhapsody editor and 2019 winner John Ottman said on Facebook. More dance numbers and bad jokes aren't going to change your ratings, but a show truly honoring the crucial and intriguing facets of filmmaking just might.
Yeah.
As if the entertainment industry weren't seen as vapid enough. Bravo.
Yeah.
And that clearly stated it for me.
One of the reasons I started watching the Oscars, and I've seen other people have stated this in comments and stuff too, is because we, like, especially for us, we have that love of filmmaking, and the technical categories are ones that actually do interest me. Yeah, I don't care so much about documentaries, foreign films, but yeah, the sound, the makeup, production value, like those things. Like when I watch a movie and I see, just like Licorice Pizza, how well the 70s era was done with the production design and the costuming, and it's like those things they do impress me, because I've seen movies, we've seen historical films where the costuming's pathetic, and it is like this. I mean, the 90s were full of historical movies where they looked like somebody was just on a stage in some theater because they weren't really authentic. So it's one of those things where those things do fascinate me, and I hate that they don't get their due, because we're gonna get more of crap like Amy Schumer that I don't care about.
Well, it just shows you that the only thing that really matters to them are the actors and the
people that makes the money.
The agenda that's
The
driving
well-known
the film.
faces. Yeah.
That's true. But the thing is these technical categories, that's how the film gets made.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what the Oscars is really supposed to be about, making the film.
Well, it's
Well, that's what
harder
the
to
film
push it
industry claims itself to be about.
Yeah.
They continually try to promote this image of inclusivity and diversity, and it's funny because I'm like, amongst your own members, you don't give a damn about the
Most
people who
of
put
the,
these films
the
on
diverse
screen.
workers are in the
Are in the
technical.
technical,
Yeah.
yes,
So now
exactly.
you're dishonored. You want to be more diverse, but the diverse people that work for you are in the categories you're cutting out.
Yep. That's all we gotta say about
Stupid.
that. No,
Yeah, we're done.
Fantastic.
We're done. We need to move on.
Freaking Oscars are gonna suck this year
The
because they don't
Academies-
know how to academy.
Last year was a weak year, and I would argue this year's even weaker.
Oh, yeah,
I can't
absolutely.
wait. I honestly,
Absolutely.
I think I'm looking forward to this year only to see how bad a bomb it's going to be.
I really
Yeah.
want to see the
It's
ratings.
gonna be awful.
gonna be
Because
like watching
the ratings
Moonfall.
last year were so bad that they're doing all this stuff to try to be like, oh, we're going to recover ratings. No, you're not. They're
No.
going to be terrible.
I mean, I think they'll recover some.
Some,
and they'll
because it's
but here's
not
the thing:
the pandemic also has
they
some to
got
play.
10 million views last year. Okay. 10 million is abysmal for a national live television show. And I think they're going to get 12 million this year. And I think they're going to call that a success because they increased
it. I'll give them.
That's the way they're
I'll
gonna
give them-
spin it.
I'll give them 15.
What
I'll
about
be
you, Sean?
generous and give them 15.
What?
What are you going to give? How many people tune into the Oscars?
Oh, I think it's going to be less.
Oh, okay.
You think it's
So
gonna be
say
less than 10?
Oh, yeah, I do.
This is gonna be fun.
This will be great.
I
if
hope
it
Sean's
is.
right. I really do.
I do
hope-
too.
I think it'll be a little bit more, but I hope Sean's right. I
Because
do.
if anything, I really think they are.
Last year and the year before, people were stuck inside with COVID. I feel like now there's better things for them to do. They're going to be bowling.
that's
They're
a
not
good
going to be watching
point.
the Oscars.
I was gonna say we already know because of the Ukraine-Russia invasion. It's like, oh hey, look, COVID's over.
yeah.
Yeah.
So people are gonna be out and about.
And that's what you're going to hear about at the Oscars.
COVID.
Oh yeah.
No. You're going to hear about Ukraine.
Oh, Ukraine,
Every
yep.
one of these freaking actors
Oh,
is
they're-
going to get up
our
there to
hearts-
accept their speech,
our hearts
and they're
go
going
out
to give
to
a speech
Ukraine.
about
We
Ukraine.
stand with the Ukrainian people.
This little gold man, I dedicated to Ukraine and all the people in it. No, you're going to hear the biggest bunch of bull crap
Yep.
about Ukraine because they're opportunists and this opportunity for them to stand on a soapbox.
Sad but true. You're exactly
And
right.
people will turn it off the first time they hear the
I hope they
the
do.
Name
Because
Ukraine.
I mean, if anything, I mean, we're literally, I think, one, maybe two. I really do think if they slip this year, ABC will give them one more chance, and if they slip another year, ABC will cancel it just like
I'm
NBC
good
did with
it.
the Golden
I hope
Globes.
they do. I really do.
And
at
they'll
this
do
point.
like some Twitter announcement just like the Globes did.
I mean,
it'll be irrelevant.
I used
Yeah.
to look forward to the Oscars. I haven't in years, and if they
No,
get canceled,
I haven't either.
I'm a-okay with that. I hope because maybe it'll teach Hollywood some hubris. I doubt it, but maybe.
Yeah, we can always hope.
Let's get on to our unique segment.
Let's do it.
I don't think Brandon needs another.
You never know what's going on behind the camera.
No,
Just saying.
No, I'm looking down reading and I hear somebody yell and I look and I'm like, what
Brandon's
just
threw
happened?
he tried to get Edie
What
out of the
happened?
room. He took the bone and he was like, "Go get it."
It
But
worked.
It smacked the door.
She's sitting there
frame.
chewing on it. I hope
Yeah,
she
she's
stays
been
that
all
way.
over
Yeah,
Keith.
she's out
man.
there.
She's
I don't
been
know.
all over him.
I don't know, and I've been ignoring her tonight too. Usually, if I ignore her, she kind of goes away after a while. But yeah,
Actually, I think Sean you were like calmer with her before the show, petting her belly.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it was. She just had so much left in her.
I
still.
I
didn't
don't know.
interact with her at all before the show, so maybe that's what it was. She was like, "Hey, you didn't give me any
It's your
attention."
turn.
That's true.
It's your
Yeah.
turn, Keith.
I think she honestly saw you plug in the
Well,
iPad
I
and she
think-
said no.
I think what the problem
No.
is I've given up
Not
dogs for
happening.
Lent, so she's just gonna have to get over it.
Oh, that's what it is.
No.
she's very
I have
very
2
scarred
dogs. I
by
couldn't
that.
give up.
You have
dogs
put your
for
dogs
Lent.
out.
Yeah, I can't do that.
They're living outside right
It
now.
actually would be funny if you just called like your parents and you were like,
you need to keep my
I'm
dogs
giving
for
up
40
dogs
days.
for Lent. Could you just keep them for the next month?
I was
just
like,
four-
I called
just-
my parents. I'd
just
be like,
40
I'm giving
days.
you up for Lent.
You could.
I'm just not going to
give up
call my
relatives?
parents. Yeah.
What about
Man,
what,
I got a few. I think
Like,
I,
I'm
I
giving
would,
up
He's like, I'm not gonna
communication
talk
with
to you
you.
for 40
would you give
days.
up your kids for Lent?
for 40 days? That's not a sacrifice.
40
though.
days
No.
I couldn't do.
That's too
3
much.
maybe.
Because you
Not
love
40.
them.
Yeah.
Oh, Sean loves his kids.
Yeah.
Screw it. I don't even have kids.
I'd
Get
be
rid
messed
of them.
up. I'd be messed up.
Oh, that's sweet.
Let's talk
That's
about
sweet.
some vices we would possibly.
Well,
give up
I don't
for
practice Lent, so I'm not going to give anything
Lent. That's
up.
not the
right.
topic.
But
I'm a Christian. I don't do that.
some Christians do.
I'm a Lutheran and I'm supposed to.
But here's the thing: I don't have like I'm not I don't practice it. I wasn't raised to because I'm the Baptists don't follow that. But I mean
Right.
I'm not going to knock people.
They
Like I don't.
follow it.
It's funny because
I was
it
gonna say,
says
the
it. Just to
Baptists-
point out, it's just like
You don't.
Baptists
but
don't want you to drink beer either.
Yeah, yeah.
You're drinking it.
No, they don't practice Lent. They don't give up
Baptists
things
don't
for
practice a lot of stuff
Lent. Yeah,
I was gonna say
that
they,
I practice.
I know some Baptists that do.
some, but
What?
in the
That practice
churches,
Lent?
Yes.
in the churches usually don't. They don't do.
they don't
Ash
make a
Wednesday.
big deal out.
Just
No.
because they eat a fish
I-
sandwich from McDonald's don't mean
Yeah.
they're practicing Lent.
That's not what I'm
No,
saying.
some people voluntarily do give up stuff, but the church itself, Baptist churches don't. They
don't
don't. They
know.
don't celebrate Ash Wednesday.
they call
don't,
it fasting.
Yeah.
That's what we Baptists like to call it. We call it
Fasting.
fasting.
I just like water everything down, just
So
like your
yeah,
beer.
so I wasn't. Yeah, that was never something that happened in my church. But I
Yeah.
mean, I do understand and appreciate the giving up of something. I mean, honestly, because Jesus fasted in the desert for 40 days, and
Yep.
that's part of where the Lent for 40 days comes from. And I completely understand why. I don't do it.
Well, he was the son of God. I'm not.
Well,
Terrible humans.
I'll say this: there is absolutely
smite you all.
there is absolutely
set the
nothing,
bar really
absolutely
high.
nothing I could sacrifice or give up that's going to get me any closer to heaven. God's already gave the ultimate
right.
sacrifice.
Oh, here we go.
So
throw
therefore
out
the-
the gospel.
He said it
Just
over
saying.
next door too. He's
So
laid it on
therefore,
thick.
I don't have to get. But no, I'm not.
Throw
knocking
out
people
the
that-
lifeline.
That's
throw
right.
out the lifeline.
That's right. But so I don't have to sacrifice. No, but that's just me making excuses for why I don't. But yeah, no. I if I were to I don't know. Like, there's a lot of things where I'm like, I know people are like, I'm not going to drink Coke for 40 days, but I'm like, is that really a sacrifice? Like, I don't consider that. I guess it can be for some people that are addicted, but things like that I don't really consider a sacrifice.
well,
to me.
well, hold on a second. So
If
the
I'm going to
one
sacrifice
person-
something, I mean, I'm not going to have a phone for 40 days, or
Yeah,
I'm going to
yeah,
get
yeah.
rid of my TV.
See,
like,
but
Yeah,
I
or the
think that's-
news.
Again,
What if you gave up reading the news for 40 days? Could
again,
you do it?
I think that would be healthy.
yeah, I do.
I've seen people
do
give
think-
up
yeah.
social. I mean,
Yeah.
here's the thing: if you drink a Coke a day, or even for some people, it's way worse than that. It's 2 or 3 or 4 a day.
Yeah.
If you drink that and you're willing to give up Coke for 40
Yeah,
days,
it's hard.
That's a
I get that.
sacrifice.
Yeah,
but
no
then you're
doubt,
going
no
to drink
doubt.
it at the end of
Yeah.
the 40 days, so
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where
That's the
my
point.
thing comes in. Is like, okay, well, once the sacrifice is over, then you go right back to doing it. So I just don't understand the
The
point.
idea, okay, but that's the same with fasting. The point is to help you focus on the thing that is most important in the season, which is the ultimate sacrifice that we end the season with, which is Jesus'
well, I don't need help
death and then his
focusing on that. I
resurrection.
focus on it really well.
Okay, well, I guess we don't need to celebrate Easter or Christmas or any holiday anymore.
I mean,
because,
if
we're
you look
just
at
going to
it-
do it again next year.
I mean,
so what's the point?
He went into the desert. He fasted for 40 days, but then when it was over, he went back
Well,
to
then
normal.
we should
so-
fast for 40 days.
and then go back to normal.
Not sacrifice something particular. We should just not
I think
eat for
you're
40
missing
days.
the point of Lent.
No, I'm just being facetious.
Of course you
and
are.
an argumentative on purpose. But I mean,
I think it's noble for anybody to participate in giving up something for 40 days because it ultimately means
It's a hard thing to do. Yeah.
I'm willing to again, and I think more people are better for it because I've seen people who have given up something for 40 days
And then they don't go
and then
back.
they don't
Yeah.
go back,
Yeah.
and they've learned that
I've
they
seen
can
people
live
that give
without
it up
it.
for life too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that is a good
What are
thing.
you gonna give up? Because you're the only
That's-
one that's practicing Lenten here. So
I never said I was practicing.
oh,
He's defending it. He's defending it. He's
No,
just
he's
not
the thing.
practicing it.
You
you can't say your diet because you were already doing that before.
I was.
Yeah,
I was. I'm
yeah.
not going to say that.
Okay.
That would be a cop out. But no. As part of a member of the Lutheran Church, which Lutheran's just a denomination of Christianity.
It is, yeah.
We
For
know.
people who
I'm
don't
just
know.
joking.
But no,
completely
it's
joking.
funny
Yeah.
because we do Ash Wednesday. We have an Ash Wednesday service. Unfortunately, I can't go because I work till like 8
See,
o'clock.
you're already a heathen.
I know. I trust me. It sucks because I do want to go.
Yeah,
I do
no.
enjoy those Wednesday night services, but it's like we go, we get the ashes on our head to remind us we come from ashes and to ashes and dust we will return, and it's said with marking the ashes on our forehead, and it's to symbolize that we are nothing without Christ. As you learn throughout the season, and you learn of His sacrifice, and the idea is to sacrifice what little you do have in kind of remembrance, and also in a way of reminding you of what He ultimately sacrificed, and how little it compares in comparison to what Christ died on the cross for. So it's like I definitely, it's just funny because it's more not because I don't align with the understanding and the belief of the church that way. It's more so just my family. We went to Ash Wednesday service, but then we never really practiced giving up anything. And it was funny because even my brother, who I think
Now y'all just a bunch of hypocrites.
we're a bunch of, well, like you said, we're a bunch of broken sinning
sinning
heathens.
We are all sinners. I mean, no matter what we do,
There's the
we're
Baptist
not
way
worthy. Hey, Martin Luther was the one that said that if you're going to sin
boldly.
Yeah.
I'm all about it.
See.
I just find my way to do that.
Yeah.
But no. It's funny because my brother tried to kind of hit me hard with this. I think when he was kind of going through his legalistic phase growing up in the church, and he of course wanted to do it one year, and he kind of just pushed my buttons and tried to work into me like, hey, why don't you give up something for Lent? Why don't you actually sacrifice something?
Yeah.
And he tried to push me to give up video games. And I said, okay, fine, I'll give up video games. You give up talking on the phone. Which, of course, in high school days,
Yeah.
when he had a girlfriend,
Yeah.
he couldn't do that.
And those.
So, of course, as soon as I hit him with that, it was funny how his attitude changed. And he didn't give up talking on the phone, and I didn't give up
that would
video
have been
games.
like that would have been like landline days too. Like he didn't
Oh,
have a
yeah.
cell phone.
Oh, yeah.
right? yeah.
yeah,
Man.
that was landline.
Yeah.
That was back in the nights and weekends days of cell phones, too.
Yeah.
Oh.
Had to pay to get
Yeah, you messed that up a few times, didn't you?
that. On texting, I did.
Our
10
idiot
cents
on-
to
our-
open and read.
Our idiot on YouTube is
Idiot.
posting
Who we
stuff.
calling
like,
an idiot on YouTube?
It's that one that's always advertising their.
Those
Stupid.
always
I
get
think those are
removed
bots,
anyway.
yeah.
Those are
It
just
just
bots.
pisses me off.
It's a
You
Russian bot. Go
You
invade
Russian
Ukraine.
bot.
Eric Barnum, get off there, you bot.
Why don't you get out of Ukraine and start worrying about putting bots on somebody
hey,
else's?
he might be with anonymous, so we might want to stop.
Nah, it ain't true. He's probably from the government.
He
Probably
might,
want people to watch the State of the Union
That's
right now
what
'cause nobody's
I
watching.
need the government to quit spying on people for Lent. Let
That's
them give
right.
that up.
I wish. Let's abolish
Give up
the
the
FBI
Patriot
and the
Act.
CIA. Let's get rid of them. Let's
I
do
don't know
that
we
for
need to-
Lent.
I don't know. We need to get rid of them. It's like abolishing the police.
Hey, I bet we could live without them for 40 days. Let's
defund
do
the
it.
FBI.
Yeah, that's right. Get rid of
Defund
I'm
the
all for
CIA.
it. Get rid of the ATF. We don't need the ATF.
ATF.
Get rid of them. Get rid of the school, the
I say
Board
we
of
just-
Education.
We get rid of.
the School
all-
of Education.
We need ICE. Don't get rid of ICE.
We
that.
need them.
I was just gonna say, let's just go full lawlessness. Get rid of all type of law.
Start
and
the
government.
purge.
Just everything.
That's right.
Everything. Complete anarchy.
Well, that's just
Tear it all
that's
down. For 40
Seattle.
days.
I mean, that's Seattle. Come on,
That's the purge.
we can go there.
Purge only lasted one night. 40 days, man.
Portland, Oregon. Let's go there.
40 days, you won't need a FUD. that's the freaking next moonfall right there. God. Alrighty, guys. I think that's gonna do it for this episode.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm gonna give up. Or y'all aren't gonna give up anything?
No, I'm not gonna give anything up. I'm trying to think of something that would be.
He
but,
just straight up.
yeah.
Nah, I ain't gonna give that up.
nothing up.
I slyly got rid of this topic to be like, that's it. That's it
It's
for the
like,
night.
yeah, we're gonna talk about Lent, the one thing we don't do,
Yeah.
the one thing we don't have any part of.
I think it's a worthy.
Oh no, I'm not. I really.
A
I mean, I
worthy-
know I was being an ass earlier, but I mean, but it's
Why don't you give that up for Lent?
Yeah,
Quit being an ass.
Yeah, I like being an
No,
ass.
he couldn't give up ass if he wanted to.
Oh, I could give it up.
He
We're
refuses.
getting we're exiting the PG-13 here.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of desperately something I do want to give up that I will it to. That's
Well,
the
see,
problem.
That's what I don't have anything. If I were to give something up, I would want it to be meaningful, and that's why I'm like I don't really know off the top of my head.
See, that's what makes it. I
Yeah.
think that's what makes it a worthy
yeah,
you know,
I get
tradition and a
That. Like
worthy.
if it's meaningful,
you know,
like if it is something that
part
you
of the
struggle
church
with,
year.
like I get it.
So wait a minute now. This is a serious question. So do you only the giving up? Is that only during Lent? Like, what if you couldn't think of anything before Lent started?
I mean,
then
here's the
then
thing.
you decided, oh
Well, then
yeah,
you're
here's
just
something I
terrible.
can give up. That's what I'm saying.
You
Like,
just don't
if
love
it's
Jesus
got to be
enough.
meaningful,
No, that the idea.
then what if you have to take time to think about
the
it?
idea is to sacrifice.
You have a whole year to
something.
think about it
That's true.
before
true.
Lent.
But no, that's the thing. The whole
got me
whole
there.
idea is to think about something that is meaningful to you that you could give up and to make that sacrifice.
My children.
It's a conscious sacrifice.
Abraham was willing to do it. Why not me?
Hey, absolutely.
I don't have any. I guess I'm gonna have to like X-ray my
I
stuff.
thought you were gonna go somewhere else with
Sacrifice
You
that.
have to
children.
stab your dog.
Oh,
Oh my gosh.
he's not my child. I'm not one of
See if-
those people.
see if God
I love
stops
my
you before
animals, but I don't call them my children.
My children have paws.
You're not a dog dad, dog parent, or
I,
whatever
mean,
they call them.
I guess I'm a dog, but I don't.
No,
I don't.
no,
you know,
no.
Yeah.
They're
I
part
love-
of
yeah, they are part of my
they're part of my
family.
family, but
Yes.
they're not a kid.
No,
If,
absolutely not.
if the house
Yeah.
is burning down, I'm going to run in and save my kids, not my dog. Like if it comes down to one or the
Yeah,
other,
Yeah.
I'll
I mean,
try
I would-
to save both.
I would.
but if
Try, I would
can't-
want to save my animals, but I mean, if it came down to yeah. I don't have anybody
Like,
else in
how
my
did we-
house. So
How did we
Did you
get
hear
here?
that, Edie? I'm sacrificing you for
How did we
Lent.
get here?
how did we get anywhere?
Hey, Edie's going to
God.
sacrifice her ovaries next week. She's giving those up for Lent.
I think we need to end the show.
Forcibly. That's what I'm saying. Forcibly.
I'll think of something, and if I do, I'll mention it on next week's show.
Yeah.
Alrighty, guys. That's going to do it for this episode of the Red Moon Podcast. As we've had up throughout the show periodically, right there at the bottom of your screen, Red Moon Book, Red Moon Tweet,
here
Red
she
Moon
comes.
Picks, Red Moon
I know.
Productions on
I don't need
YouTube.
that anymore. Show's over.
It's done. It's
We'll
done.
plug that.
And then also, what else could they do, guys? They can follow us on our social there, but they can
Our
also,
socials.
They could email us at
What?
rmpodcast@redmoonproductions.com.
There's that old-fashioned way. I love that.
Mm.
Email is great too.
I like that electronic mail.
It's beautiful. Alrighty, guys, I'm going to go binge watch some State of the Union and commentary on it because I am a news junkie and I'm not giving that up. So until next time, hopefully we find out that the country is not burning and in disarray, even though we know it is. Until next time, I'm one of your hosts, Brandon Davidson.
It'd be a miracle if next week like everything was just kosher again.
That would be.
Sure.
Yeah.
It'll be that way for 40
Kosher.
days, and then it'll just go back to crap. I'm one of your hosts, Brandon Davidson, alongside our normal new host,
Sean Sebastian.
and
Keith Cheatham.
that was it.
That was how it's supposed to happen.
Wow.
Because I'm trying to get the show ended. Gosh.
We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. For more reviews, previous podcast shows, and everything Red Moon, visit our website, redmoonproductions.com. You can also like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for Red Moon Productions, LLC. We'll see you at the movies.